And you could see that a lot of it was on the run up to Christmas. But even at the run up to Christmas, where they'd, I think, actually tenfolded their marketing, so they times it by 10. They were still much
It still
more
wasn't
room
enough.
in the tank. Yeah, it still wasn't enough. So they were running at a ROAS of new customer ROAS of about 7.5 for the month of November, and their minimum ROAS was like 2.8. So even though they thought, oh my God, we've really, I think the budget went up to £120,000 for November. They could have still doubled it, and they still would have been really profitable. So it is a fascinating market. So
It's
you have to
difficult for them
be
because
ready to go.
hello, Ian. How are you?
Hello, Mark. Good evening. How are you?
All right. Have a nice Easter weekend. Presume it's probably still the Easter weekend there, is
Still
it?
having it.
Just the end. Yeah.
Still having it. Yeah,
Lovely.
it's Easter Monday.
Yeah.
Yes, we have 2 days. We have Friday, Good Friday, and then Easter Monday, Bank Holiday
And
Monday. So you have 2 days
does it
off.
feel spring? Does it feel a bit more springy over there? Is
It
it kind of
absolutely
starting to
does.
kind
The
of...
weather's been
Oh, it's
spectacular,
nice.
actually. Yeah, it was lovely. I actually had dinner outside for the
Gosh.
first time.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was that
It's
warm,
not been
just
bad here
sitting in a
in...
t-shirt.
Not been bad here in New Zealand, to be honest. It's been all right. So the whole world is heating up. We're all warm all across the world.
You can't
Bit
can't
weird.
talk about that.
No.
There's different podcasts. We're not going to talk about global warming.
No. We are talking about gifting, a gifting business, because we've been going through the dominoes of e-commerce, the 6 dominoes of e-commerce, and we then did. We've kind of gone through, looking at the list there. We've gone through 5 case studies. We did a menswear company. We did a car parts company. I think we did the kind of those at the similar time. Then we did cosmetics. We've done women's clothing, and we did home decor last week. And this week we're going to do gifting. So if someone's in the gifting business, then things are slightly different.
Yeah.
Just due to the nature of the businesses. But there's actually, to be honest, there's a lot of e-commerce sites in the gifting market. So let's go through the dominoes in terms of step by step, rather than kind of stealing our own thunder. Do you want to introduce the first one, Ian? Then we'll get into it.
Yeah. So the first domino is the busy restaurant test, which is the positioning, and you are really trying to tell people that they're in the right place, that they should continue to invest their time in this place. And actually, think about it. What we're trying to do with the dominoes is to put ourselves, psychologically align ourselves with the customer's emotions, needs, and wants. So we're trying to be in the right place. And if you go back to a time when you have been trying to buy a gift, it can be quite a stressful thing to do. You have a problem to solve, which is to buy a gift. Now, it's a very emotional thing normally. If you're trying to buy a gift for your wife or your husband, or, someone in your family or someone at work, it can be quite stressful, but it can be quite emotional. So you've got to feel confident that you're going to find the right gift. So, for example, if I am looking for a gift for my wife, I'd want to feel like the positioning is aligned with that. So if it's something completely different, let's say it's a gifting for gadgets and remote control cars, I'm obviously not going to find what I want. It's mainly positioning around social proof, but social proof in terms of the right type of social proof, i.e., who was my demographic.
Yeah.
So voted UK's number one for, let's say, Valentine's Day gifts. I mean, obviously I'm making it a bit more specific.
Well, it's kind of a strange purchase, because it's probably one of the purchases where the buyer is out of their comfort zone. Like, imagine a husband going to buy lingerie for his wife and going into a lingerie shop. Like, it's not an environment that they would ever go into or understand. And so gifting is that's an extreme example, because obviously that's not normal behavior for a dude to go into a lingerie shop and kind of shop there. So, but that's what gifting is. You're buying something for somebody else, and often the person you're buying for is not you, and not even in your demographic or age group, or like a grandparent buying for a grandchild. They've got no idea what toys are interesting to them, because their childhood is completely different. So what they're looking for is instant believability that they are in the right place for that demographic, and they're gonna get a successful outcome from that point. So let's someone who sells Everton gifts for Everton Football Club, and if he led with if they love Everton, they'll love our products. They got proof of that, then they know they're in the right place. And so
Yeah, and I think it's
effectively,
also, I'll say, sorry, one thing, you often see bringing in third party evidence here, because essentially you do want to feel like you're in the right place. And how do you know that you're in the right place? Well, with evidence that there's other people like you that have been here before and who are talking about it.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's also when for gifting as well, there's a lot of discovery that's happening on the website too, and the temptation of going back into Google, for example, or wherever you've come from, is quite high. So you've got to really give people in a nanosecond a very quick evidence that you should continue.
yeah.
You're going to find what you want here. You're in the right place,
So
and
you'll see with
that's the key.
gifting a lot of messaging, like America's most popular teddy bear site, or UK's most popular photo print site, or like that's what people are looking for, because they don't know themselves whether it's a good site that does X, Y, and Z. So they're going, well, everybody has come here, everybody's buying from here, so at least I'm in the right place. Like at least a lot of other people who are doing this, and therefore I feel comfortable. So kind of like for gifting, almost the busy restaurant test is, which is the first domino, which we didn't talk about, it's almost bigger in gifting than anywhere else. Because if someone comes to a menswear store, and obviously you're doing a lot of busy restaurant stuff, it's more about, do I like the clothes? Am I in the right place? Do I like the clothes, right? But we can't do that with gifting, because you go, well, if I'm a grandparent and I'm buying for my child, it's like, do I like these dolls? No, I don't. I've got no idea whether. So basically, the busy restaurant test is effectively goes, this is a busy toy shop where loads of people like me are buying gifts for their granddaughters. That's what I want to see. Then I feel like at least I'm in the right place, because I'm in the crowd, I'm safe, I'm probably likely to find something that's going to work. So we're leading with that a lot more with gifting.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I think let's just skip ahead a tiny bit, actually, and
Yeah.
because I think it's important just to frame why we're saying that the busy restaurant test, the first greeter, is one of the most important ones for gifting. It's because think about the job to be done and the anxieties. What they want, because you're buying for somebody else. You're not buying for yourself. So that's the key. You touched on that before. You're buying a gift for somebody else. Therefore, the job to be done and anxieties are different. But it's focused around the person that you're buying the gift for. So the job to be done is it's the emotional reaction of that gift recipient, so the person you're going to give the gift to. That's what you want to feel. Oh my God, they're going to love this. They're absolutely going to love this. And the anxiety is, well, what happens if they don't? And the biggest anxiety around gifting is, when will it arrive? Will it arrive before the event? Like they will not take any risks by buying something they don't think is actually going to arrive. So if you think about those two dominoes, job to be done, anxiety ones, that's what we're saying, that you have to lead with that, because if they think they're in the wrong, because they get stressed, people get really bloody anxious about buying gifts for people, and it is a problem solving rational purchase at this stage. It isn't a desirability play yet. It's, I've got to find something that my grandparents or grandkids or wife will love, and it's got to arrive in time. And that, so you
It's
stress.
unusual.
Yeah.
It's unusual in that it's something you've got to buy with a deadline. Like normally, if you're buying a pair of trousers for yourself, you can probably survive another month or so without, a new pair of trousers. You've got existing things, but there's a birthday coming up, there's an anniversary coming up, there's Christmas coming up, Easter coming up. There's usually a deadline on it, and so
Yeah.
you have to make a decision, and therefore, it is one of those natural purchases that you get a lot of people doing things at certain times of the year. So,
I
so
think generally
that's another thing to add, really. Sorry.
Sorry, go on, I missed you there.
Well, it's just that because it's very event based, isn't it? The data capture you get during the year will have a massive impact on how big your peaks are. So
yeah, it will.
I
mean, the main obviously there are certain gifting periods, aren't there? That happen all the way through, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, and then obviously the birthday and Christmas obviously is a fairly significant one. But then obviously it's the anniversary. But I think the interesting part of it is like other e-commerce businesses, if you're buying, and this is probably the inherent challenge for gifting companies, it tends to be a lower average order value. The sweet spot for gifting we always found was about like 30 to £40, which is like $40 to $50 American dollars. It always seems to be around that area. The margins seem to be okay-ish, but the lifetime customer value tends to be quite tricky. And it's because you're buying something for somebody else. So once you've bought the gift, you've solved the problem. Therefore, you're not going to buy another gift. Whereas if you're buying something for yourself, you tend to find there's a greater chance to get the lifetime customer value up quite quickly. And so that is the inherent challenge of gifting. But then everybody's in the same boat. I mean, we were just chatting about this before. Everybody's in the same. In gifting, we're all in the same position. So, but I think just going back to the first domino, it really is you want to make it feel like, oh my God, I'm so glad I've landed on, photogift.co.uk, whatever it is. And there's evidence of hundreds of thousands of people like me that are raving about this. And it's that simple. It's just look at the niche that you're in, what type of gifting that you have, and just make yourself look bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to take anything. You want to feel like, God, everybody's buying from here. This is great. I'm definitely going to find what I want here.
A couple of things that are quite interesting to think about is that when you're buying for someone else, you're inherently more selfish. Like, I know you don't think you're selfish, but when you're buying for somebody else, you tend to have a guide price, a guide dollar amount you're going to spend. So you'll be looking around for that. It's like $40, $50, $60, like whatever's in your mind for that, and you'll see that a lot. But what you can do there is the upsell is not to buy something else. Because a lot of the time people don't buy something else unless it goes together with it. It's like, oh, you buy these kind of shaky head dolls and you buy the 2 shaky head dolls, or whatever. That's just an example from someone. But that you can upsell them on the gift. Like you can say, add an extra pen to this wall chart, add an extra so and so. So they might start off in their mind like thinking, oh, I'm going to buy something for $50.
Yeah.
They get on the product. It's in the right area. So they think, okay, I'm in the right area, buying a gift. But they're quite not all the purchasers, but quite a few of the purchasers are susceptible to the supersize me. Like, oh, well, we'll get Tracy an extra pen with it. I will get the gold frame. I will get the so-and-so with it. And they'll start off at like $50 and they might end up with $70. But because they put effort into creating the gift, they'll buy it. Whereas the value tree that we talk about in some of the other businesses, like buy this gift and then buy another gift. It's like in their mind, the job to be done has been done. And so they don't really want to go and buy something else a lot of the time. And so the upsell is on the supersize me.
Centered around that specific item.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally, so you're doing it with there, which is, and you're right. People come in with a perception of what they want to spend, don't they?
So the second domino is the navigational flow, which is actually really important for gifting because the it's kind of like a rabbit in the headlights. You come to a website, and a lot of gifting websites tend to have thousands of products, like huge amounts of products, huge amounts of different options. And the danger is that they'll just leave because they're just overwhelmed. They think, I don't know, if I'm buying for like my 18-year-old niece, I'm like, I don't know 18-year-old girls enough to navigate through all these categories. And so you've got to very quickly get me to the right gift for me, or the right area where I can select for like maximum. I can select from like 4 or 5 products, and that's kind of filtered down to me. So the navigational flow for gifting is super important to get me to where I want to go. So, you'll see a lot of these, anniversary gifts, 50-year anniversary gifts, 25-year anniversary gifts. And there'll be categories for those and things picked out. And even like a quiz guide, who are you buying for? How old are they? What are they interested in? This is what we recommend. Would you like to see the best sellers for these people? It's like, yes, I would like to see the best sellers. Okay, that looks great. I'm going to buy it. What's trending this season? Those kind of things. Like, you've got to get me to the right products. Now, of course, if I've come from Google Shopping or maybe Facebook and I've clicked on a specific product, that's different. The selection's been done for me. I'm landing on the product.
It's still very much still the same. I mean, yes, even though you've come straight from Facebook or Google Shopping ads, in theory, is what product you've clicked through a product to, but there's a lot of doubt of, well, is this, is my granddaughter going to like this product, or is there something that actually is better? So if that particular product is for grandkids, 8-year-old girls, then you'd want to see all the 8-year-old girls' favorite gifts. So you'd follow that flow in. I mean, that's obviously breadcrumbs, it's navigational, it's category headers, but it is absolutely key, because you just sometimes you don't know. You want to be told. I mean, if you think about it, if you had a gift store, it would all be laid out. So the things for different age groups would be laid out in a certain way, and ideally, you'd want somebody to come up to you and say, "Yeah, right. Who are you looking for? Okay, it's for 8-year-old girls. You know what? These things have been absolutely flying. You'd want to be told what is trending, what is a popular gift.
Yeah, because you don't have the knowledge yourself, do you?
No,
you don't have the knowledge yourself, so you got no idea.
You have to be led much more.
The job to be done, which you alluded to earlier, is kind of like what they actually want. They don't necessarily want to buy the gift. That's not the job to be done. The job to be done effectively is the gift in its itself is not really the product. The service that you're selling as a gifting company is giving. Say I was going to buy Ian a present. It doesn't really matter what the present is. It's giving him, seeing delight on his face when I give it to him, in his enjoyment of me giving him a gift, and it's a gesture. So it's buying that gesture. So in the mind of the grandparent buying the daughter something like a granddaughter something like a jigsaw or something, the jigsaw means very little to them because they don't have any emotional attachment to it, but they have an emotional attachment to the granddaughter. So it's the excitement. They want to see the excitement on the granddaughter's face. That's what they're buying. They're buying, and that's the job to be done. And so
with the packaging testimonials is important. Sorry, I would just touch on that point. So the packaging. So we've worked with loads of jewelry gifting businesses over the years, and one or two stand out actually in tests that we've done where we've actually photographed the packaging and the box that it comes in, and
the unboxing experience is also really more key.
Yeah, and so you want to take lovely shots of those, and obviously put it on all of the product pages. So that you're showing, because that's part of the process, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, the job to be done is, like we said before, is the emotional reaction of the person that's like, wow, oh my God, this is amazing. So if you really think about it like that. And also, I think the other thing too is, I mean, it's not for everything, but sometimes you want to feel like the other person's going to look at you and go, oh my God, I can't believe you spent this much on me. This is amazing. Wow, you've really, really spoilt me. You've really treated me. That's a wonderful thing, and that is the job to be done. That is the ultimate product. So you have to really lean in that. Yeah. So if you were doing, Instagram or Facebook ads, the best type of ads that you could be doing would be a little short video, really quick, of people opening the presents and going,
and receiving,
wow, and
receiving a gift of that demographic, and looking at the gift there and kind of going, oh wow, that's amazing or stuff. Like say some of these comedy gifts, like seeing them laugh when they open it up. Like that's what people want. They want to give it. They want to, the job to be done is to give them a laugh and give them some fun and all that kind of stuff. And they go, oh, if I do that, that's what's going to happen, and we're going to have a good time. And the gift is the physical gift itself is almost secondary. Well, it is secondary to that. Like if you think about it, you get you get Christmas presents, and on Boxing Day, it's the opening experience on Christmas that is the most important thing, isn't it? It's like being, oh, someone's bought me this, and someone
you want to watch. You want it's nice to see people opening the presents. It's a wonderful feeling, and that's the whole experience of it. That's the key. You definitely go out, and it goes on, and it does. Then, I mean, should we talk about the next domino, which is the anxiety, because it's so clear. Gifting.
Yeah. So once, but let's just talk about that. But let's talk about what's happened to get to the stage. So before they care about the anxiety, they have to be convinced that it's the right product. They found something they like, and they think that their gift recipient would like it. They're convinced that they would have a happy experience opening it and all that kind of stuff. So all that's done. And then they hit the anxiety, which is, Ian?
Yeah. Well, the biggest anxiety is, will it arrive on time for the event? That's the biggest
anxiety. The second anxiety is, what if they don't like it?
What if they don't like it? Yeah. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And they're two easy things to resolve. I mean, the standard returns policy. You see this over Christmas. If people buying clothes in store over Christmas, they often give an extended returns policy. So 30-day returns policy, which is standard in lots of e-commerce businesses, this isn't enough. By the time that you've bought it, it's been sent to yourself, possibly. You've wrapped it, and then you've given it to somebody else, or you're sending it directly to that person. By the time that they've opened it, done it, you need to have an extended returns policy.
Particularly if you're buying something for a wedding or something. I know the weddings have gift lists and things like that, but like if you're buying something for a wedding or something like that, it's a big event. You want to get organized for it. You want to have your gift. You want to get it done. You want to get it received. But then you don't want to think, well, I'm not going to give it to them for another 3 weeks. I'll give it to them. Then they're going on the honeymoon. Then they'll come back at their gifts, and if they don't want it, they've, they can't return it. So, that's not ideal, is it?
No.
I lost your video, by the way. Oh, there we go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you why, because my daughter's come in and she wants me to take screen time off on the iPad. She just put a note.
Naughty.
She just put a note in under the door saying, "I'm very annoyed because my time limit is still on." And I said that when I was doing the podcast, I let them go on their iPad.
Oh right, so they've come and interrupted you.
She's really cross.
Which one's that one? The older one or the younger one?
That's the middle one.
Oh right. It's hilarious.
That's the middle one. Yeah. So I was trying to turn it off.
So basically, like, you've got to think about the job to be done and whether or not you're offering a good enough service with your returns policy to facilitate that. Because if you are you're not providing the product, you're providing the service of a delight. Like, it's not like a lot of the time people are worried about increasing the returns policy because they think returns will go up. That's not necessarily going to happen. A lot of times it doesn't. The returns for something usually stays fairly similar. Like maybe if you had a ridiculously short returns policy, like 1 day or something like that, like that'd be fine. But if you have a too short returns policy, it will actually put off the people who were going to buy in the first place. So you'll lower the conversion rate. So usually the conversion rate boost outmatches the increased returns you get, and usually the returns don't actually come up. Usually they're quite fixed by whatever you're selling.
Returns for gifting just seems to be it's really quite low.
Well, a lot of the time,
sometimes you get exchanges. If it's jewelry, you get exchanges because of different sizes. But in exchange, it tends to be rather than a return. If it is
well, it's also not your money, is it? If someone's bought you something and you're not going to use it, it's not your money. So therefore, you're less likely to return it because you just go, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, and it's also slightly odd, isn't it? That if you do return it, oh, did you look? You love your gift.
Do you love it? Oh, I love it. And it's like, where is it? Oh, I've returned it and changed it for this.
Just a
for this
voucher.
And so, but your returns rates will be your returns rates a lot of the time, and like they aren't necessarily high. Like the women's clothing returns rates is really, really high. Gifting is nowhere near that usually.
Yeah.
just because
So
of the
what we're
complexity
saying
of
is
returning something.
what we're saying is that the returns policy is actually a reassurance. It's a marketing spend. And it doesn't actually tend to correlate. If you put the returns policy, you're very generous. So I would say with gifting, you want to be doing at least 60 days. At least 60 days I'd be doing. And calling it a change your mind promise. That if something's not quite right, you've got 60 days, no quibble, change your mind. And I would definitely be doing that, because those are the two biggest anxieties with gifting: is will it arrive on time for the event, and what happens if they don't like it. The biggest one is that will it arrive in time for the event. So they've got to have confidence that it's in stock. You've got to have that, and they've got to know that it's gonna come. You'll find that also people will, because it's because it's a problem-solving, anxious purchase, that people leave it to the last minute. They will pay extra for premium next day or Saturday delivery. And so give them that option. And it's okay to do that, because people leave things at the last minute. But the overwhelming, you've got to give a lot of reassurance that it's going to arrive on time. So you have to do that near the add to basket button on the product page. You have to repeat that in the shopping basket as well. Otherwise, you just won't get the sale. If there's any doubt, if you're not saying anything, if you're saying, it's in stock, or you're just saying nothing, add to basket, and you're selling gifting, you're absolutely missing the main anxiety. So you're really missing out on conversion rate.
Part of the all these things we're saying, like, the trouble is when you've got your own gifting website and you see it all the time, you're too close to it to see that messaging, and therefore what happens is that you don't realize how much you need to amplify these things in order to kind of make them super simple for the first time user. So basically, I'm saying that you need to amplify it. You almost need to kind of be like, come to a gifting website like with a 5-year-old mind, and be able to understand it very, very quickly, very easily for the first time visitor. Because effectively, you've got, with a gifting buyer, you've got less attention than a normal buyer, because they're not buying for themselves. You've got less patience, because again, they don't want to have to look through lots of products. And thirdly, it needs to make sense for the first time visit, and also as if they've only ever been to this website again, because they're probably never going to come back to the website. It's not something they're going to go, oh, I always buy gifts from that site, because next week they'll be buying a gift for someone a completely different age, maybe their wife, and last week it's the niece. It's not going to be the same place. You do get some repeat businesses with like photo print up. They go, well, I just buy, I'm buying a photo print thing. It's like like Moonpig or something like that, and you'll go and get, always buy flowers or something like that from those kind of things. But a lot of gifting is kind of different.
They work in a different way. I think the big Goliath like Moonpig, I think they've just got to a point where they're so big, because they get great repeat, don't they? But they're kind of like the default.
Well, they're buying a card. You're buying a card, really. That's what you're buying from Moonpig.
Yeah,
you're buying a card, and so you would always buy a card for people. And if people are abroad, like I live abroad from you guys, and so it's easy for me to send a card from overseas.
And they're very good with their marketing. I mean, they're obviously giving you a nudge saying it's Mum's birthday coming up and it's Mother's Day, so they've got the database of people. But that type of behaviour will be rare. And the other thing as well is, if you are, I mean, look, what we had quite a famous example of a business that we worked with. Well, in fact, we started working with them, and we said, they were struggling financially. They're doing about 6 million, and they were losing money. And they were losing about 1 million, I think, or 1.5 million. And we went through the maths, went through the numbers, and they did very, very well about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a product. It was a gift that was really trending, that was growing really nicely, and it essentially became a saturated gift, i.e. the people that bought the gift then weren't going to come back again the year after and buy the same gift. So their customer house file, their customer database was worthless, really, because they only had one main gift, and so it was unless they innovated, they brought new gifts that were different, that were also, innovative and interesting. They just died because, and then their
Yeah.
margins were low. I mean, they had a 30% margin and a £30 average order value, and
Yeah.
only
And
one
their
purchase.
skills were, and there was, basically they got a one-hit wonder, which they were very good at
Yeah,
scaling and very good at managing and doing an e-commerce business like that. But they were very not good at creating that new product. And I think if you're in that position, you basically have to realize you've got a cash cow. You milk the cash cow as much as you can, but you're going to have to go and invest in a different business to start the next thing again. Because if that's like when thinking about that team, they were very good at the mechanics of the business, but they weren't very good at the innovation of that business. So they would have been better taking that money when they were high and going buying the next
yeah.
gift
Well, I
and
think what they
doing
thought,
something that it was starting to
I
build.
think they felt that through advertising and conversion rate improvements, they could
Mm.
swim their way out of
They,
it. But the
yeah,
maths just simply didn't work because the margin was too low. So the cost of acquisition was so limited. The customers just weren't worth enough. They just weren't worth
yeah,
enough to get
yeah.
past that 5 or 6 million mark. Anyway, so we had to change the math. There was no amount of dominoes that would fix that particular business. But let's go to the
Yeah,
next one.
because we basically product. Yeah, so trust and credibility. So what it's
Yeah,
like, effectively, it's very similar to the first one, which is the busy restaurant test. But now we're in the weeds with it, and we're actually putting the trust and credibility within the checkout process, within the basket, within near the add to cart. That we're kind of reinforcing that because that
yeah,
anxiety is still there. Is my niece going to like this product? Like
yeah.
we're going to
Very
carry that
much
through.
a reinforcer. So what you'll know that Mark and I say is that the trust and credibility backs up the positioning that we've stated.
Mm.
It supports the evidence for the job to be done and the anxiety. So the job to be done is the emotional reaction of the gift recipient. So the testimonials that we would be picking out and the evidence would be would be supporting that. Oh my God, my niece absolutely loves this. She's not put it down since I gave it to her. Etc., etc. Or my dad was blown away by this. Honestly, he brought tears to his eyes. They are, and you'll have the reviews there, but they're all about
Mm.
that emotion
It's
that
bringing out
the
the right
gift
review, which we
recipient,
like to talk about.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
The
obviously the
right review
second
for the
one will
right person.
be which is getting rid of the anxiety, which is obviously will it arrive? So you want also to say
Mm.
things how it arrived really quick. I ordered it.
Well, pulling
I
out the
ordered it
reviews that
last night.
talk
And it
about
arrived
that.
in the
It's
morning.
like, yeah, it arrived before arrived almost before I ordered it. Like they put that in the review. It's like they were so quick. I always get my gifts in there because they're so solid and
Yeah, and about the
they're super
packaging and
super
how it's
fast.
been arrived and things like that.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
and then I think, I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I think you just have to make the trust and credibility is it's very, very key to gifting because
Mm.
the trust and credibility is the only evidence of other people, because you're not buying it for yourself. You're looking for evidence of the gift recipients that you're buying for, that demographic. That if it's your grandkids or your uncle or your father or your wife, you're looking for evidence that it's been amazing. It's a great experience. So it's really, really important. It's a big part of conversion rate, and it's very much convincibility job. It
Yeah.
doesn't tend to be a desirability job. It's a convincibility job.
No,
Yeah.
but then the last domino, which is the offer, is actually a lot more important than you think for gifting. The reason for that is that if you can get below, because basically you're buying something for somebody else, right? So if I'm saying, right, I want to buy something for $50, and if it's a product that is normally $80 and I can get it for 50, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm giving them a great gift, but I'm actually only spending 50. So it's going to be even more impressive for that person. They think, God, everybody else is going to be buying a $50 gift. I'm going to be giving them an $80 gift.
Mm.
If you can actually make them believe that they're actually getting something of high quality, that they're getting on an offer for whatever reason, that can actually
Yeah.
make a really big difference to the purchase. Because again, they don't like a lot of those businesses where you don't know the product because you never buy it. High price means good. They
Yeah,
equate high price with quality because it's a signal, isn't it? So like
yeah,
a jewelry business selling jewelry gifts, it's like high price means good. If you could genuinely kind of make them feel like that it is a genuine offer, that
yeah.
they would have paid that amount for it, then
Well,
it will work.
it's part of the job to be done. Is you want people to feel, like I said before, one of the angles is you want them to think, oh my God, I can't believe you spent this much. Like a beautiful piece of jewelry is very
Mm,
typical for this. And there's a couple of stories around jewelry. I mean, there was one particular business that we were working with that I said, right, talk me through your best sellers. And you said, right, there's a bestseller here. It's a funny story about that. It's been our bestseller for the last 2 years. But actually, when we first put it on the site, um, it was a quarter of the price. It didn't sell. So we just thought, oh, this
mm,
is ridiculous. It didn't sell. It didn't sell for 6 months. They doubled the price and it started selling, and they doubled it again, and they started selling. I mean, the margin in jewelry is just it's amazing if you can get it right.
mm,
So the product started off at like £20, and it was like now it was 80, and it became their best seller consistently for the last 2 years. And I think they kept putting it up. I think it went up to 135. So there is something about that pricing, that value, because in some reviews you'll see people say, "Oh, it's great value, amazing value," and what they're really saying is when someone says value is great value, they're really saying is the perception they thought they'd have to pay this, but actually they paid this, so they felt like it was a great return on the money that they've put, and that's what we want. We all want great value, but you particularly want it for
mm.
gifting. You want to feel like you're getting something that is greater than the sum of all of its parts, and that's it. So the other story as well is the Beaverbrooks, the jewelers. When we worked with those guys for many years ago, and what they used to do, and in fact, this isn't unique to them, but it's essentially a jewelry business selling watches and obviously predominantly gifts. But you go in with a budget of okay, £60, and there'd be an offer, and the offer would be around, if you spent £100, you'd get 25 or 30 pounds free. So you go in with like £60 budget, and then you go, well, if I spend 100, I'm gonna get £30 off the deal. So I'm saying, but then it would be in another value tree again. So but if you spend 150, you get £50 off. You spend 250, you get so it was this. There was this nudge. So you're coming in, like you said before, you're coming in with a price perception that you're comfortable, but then obviously you're coming out with something significantly higher value. But the other thing, the upsell, that I thought that was a brilliant model, actually, a fantastic average order value play.
But I would argue that that works better when the person is buying for themselves,
Well,
not as
it's
a gift. I mean, it's a great
well,
offer. It's our normal value tree, but I would argue that like it kind of works for a gift, but like it's all
yeah.
this free stuff. It's like, oh, do I get all these free stuff? It's like, it's like it works when the person is more of a selfish buyer. So I think
Well, it
the
depends
offer
on
for
what
the
the
gift
gift
buyer is
is.
more like, yeah,
I think
yeah. It
I think
depends
like
how
I
they're
think
buying
for
and
let's
whether they
say
understand the product.
let's say you're buying a necklace, for your
Mm,
girlfriend. Um, you know, I mean the price points of necklaces are just vast, aren't they? You can get a necklace for like, you know, $5 or $50,000 and everything in
mm,
between. So you're going in, I want to buy a necklace, and you have a certain amount of idea. You want the best necklace you can get for you want you want to feel like you're giving your girlfriend a $500 necklace and you got it for 300. So
mm,
you're
yeah,
willing to go, but it's got to be a great experience. They've got to know. They've got to look at the girlfriend's got to look at it and go, "Oh my God, this is a fine." So you can do it within that, but I think I mean, lots of gifting doesn't always fall in that camp because with that one,
yeah.
what they're
I
looking
think
for,
what
so
we're
you can
saying
play with it.
really is that for gifting, offer architecture is really important, but us being able to give you the exact offer architecture on a podcast for every gifting company is going to be difficult, because we always have to come up with something specific for each site. Obviously a podcast format's great. We can teach as much and stuff, but there's obviously the one-on-one stuff we're doing with everybody is always better, because it's giving them specific offer architecture for everybody. But hopefully it gives you a guide to say, look, your offer architecture is important. That's where you should work, and you'll get a lot more.
Yeah. And the offer
revenue
architecture,
out of that place.
Yeah, we're saying the offer architecture really should be linked to getting the average order value up. That's what we're saying as well.
Yeah.
So it's possibly because lifetime customer value can be really stubborn with gifting. It's probably the only way you can increase the revenue that you're getting off a customer is there and then during that purchase. No, you're not going to get it a week after, 2 weeks after, a month after. You might, if you're lucky, get it at the next anniversary. But by that point, it's unlikely. So
it's not
definitely encourage
thing.
you.
Yeah,
no, it isn't. So you've got to go for average.
And then you see like
play.
A gifting company, and someone will come in and put a rewards points system on. You go, that's stupid. No one cares.
Yeah.
It's like, get so many reward points with the gift. It's like, it's not the right thing. It's a completely different market. Yeah. It's not going to work. And you just got to be mindful of the business you're in, and then you've got to get most of your revenue off the first purchase, well, pretty much all your revenue and your profit off the first purchase, and that has to work. The profit is in the expansion of the purchase of the product, the supersized me of it. And then the other thing I would work, because we haven't really talked about a specific company, so I'll talk about a specific company that we've scaled in the gifting, and he sells silver jewelry. You probably know who I'm talking about. And one thing that we've done with him to scale his revenue is pacing. So once everything's in place and all the busy restaurant tests and all that kind of stuff and the offer architecture, everything's there, it's pacing the budget to understand which parts of the year the business is most profitable. And because the cost of a customer at different times of the year is massively different. And so by really understanding the pacing of the budgeting of the ads during the year to understand when we profit, we can massively increase the profit and scale the business at the same time if we are mindful of that. Like what we can pay for a customer in Christmas, Easter, and Father's Day and Valentine's Day is vastly different than that we can afford to pay for a customer in August when people are on holiday. Like we just,
well,
it's a very, very different business.
Well, just to put it into context, what we're saying is it's a lot cheaper to acquire a customer on the run up to Christmas than it is in August.
Well, you've got a different profit machine, completely different profit machine.
The cost of acquisition is just so much lower. And so what we're also saying is that in gifting, you do tend to get real big, seasonality, peaks and troughs. And it is much, much, much more efficient to grow your peaks, particularly with gifting. So grow your peaks. So essentially when people naturally buying, I mean, you can see conversion rates double, triple, quadruple in the key buying period. So essentially for the same amount of traffic, you might be converting 3 or 4 times the amount. And so obviously with paid ads, when the customer's motivated to buy, you can push it much harder. I mean, it's funny. It's possibly, I'm glad you touched on that, because I was with a gifting site that's doing about 5 million the other day. And you could see that a lot of it was on the run up to Christmas. But even at the run up to Christmas, where they'd, I think, actually tenfolded their marketing, so they times it by 10. They were still much more room in the tank. Yeah, it still wasn't enough. So they were running at a ROAS of new customer ROAS of about 7.5 for the month of November, and their minimum ROAS was like 2.8. So even though they thought, oh my God, we've really, I think the budget went up to £120,000 for November. They could have still doubled it, and they still would have been really profitable. So it is a fascinating market. So you have to be ready to go.
They want, because they've got to have staff all year round and all that kind of stuff. But like if you were a ski resort, you don't open in summer. Well, I think they do now. They take people up and they go mountain biking. But like like I'm trying to bet, like if you're a Christmas tree shop, you don't open in August. You don't. So like if
Yeah.
you've got that seasonality to your business, you have to be really brutal with it, and you have to realize that you just can't make money. Like I was working with someone who sells dog coats, and in Canada, and she would obviously only sell dog coats in the winter, and in the summer she basically just like, I just break even during these months. As long as I don't lose money in these months, it's fine. I just break even
Yeah.
because it's hot. Nobody wants a dog coat, and I just have to wait until people do want dog coats. And there was someone else who was selling insulation. It's like no one's interested in insulation in Australia in the summer. Like
Yeah.
we just break even,
You
and then
just it's key.
we gear to grow.
Yeah. It's key to get ready
Yeah.
for those peaks, because I mean gifting is you know it. I mean there's key gifting periods, isn't it? Like we said before. Obviously Christmas is a huge one, but then it's Valentine's Day, Easter,
Yeah. You've got
Mother's
to
Day.
understand. You understand your business. You have to understand your business, and when customers are cheap, you can't sell Christmas trees. The cost of acquisition of selling a Christmas tree in August is very difficult. You'll be massive.
It's
Like,
good
so you
because
can't just force it through.
it's an extreme example, isn't it? Which is very easy to then people
Yeah.
to understand. Of course, it's ridiculous. It's the same. It's like also trying to sell barbecues. A barbecue in winter as well is really tough. So it's really they're really obvious. But there's elements of this in gifting companies now that will be really trying to. I absolutely know there'll be people listening to this who've got gifting companies who will be spending nowhere near the amount that they should be spending, and they're just probably having a level playing field. They'll probably be overspending in their quiet months, but underspending in their busy months. I mean, this is retail. I mean, look at Boots. I think Boots said that 80%, might even be more, 90%, something like 80% of their trading. So Boots is a big retail store in the UK with department stores all in every town. Huge business. But
They're
80%
really a
of their
pharmacy, aren't
business
they?
is
But they've
done
expanded
in
into
November.
other
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So it's key. I think
And
it's a
they
bit of a
live through for
delay.
two.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, thank you very much, Ian. That was great. We shall be
you
back
too.
next
Thanks,
week with a
Mark.
new topic. I don't know what the topic will be. We'll have to decide. It's much easier when we know what the topic's going to be. We just rock up and do it. We need to plan. We need
Well,
to
we were
plan
going
them
to
out
try and do
in
all
groups of
these
5.
dominoes in one go, weren't we? We thought, oh, we'll just do it all in one
Yeah, it
podcast.
was
And
not
it's
going to
like,
happen.
no,
Yeah.
that's an error. But
Maybe we
there's some.
do. Maybe we keep picking the most popular kind of types of e-commerce business, and we do
Well,
another dominoes
we
because
could
it's quite
carry on.
easy
Yeah,
for us. Yeah.
yeah,
So if you have any
yeah.
recommendations on businesses you'd like us to do, business models you'd like us to do, I'm sure we've sold it online. Yeah, we can bring it out for you. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.